Hello and a very warm welcome to Hello English. I'm really glad you're here. Learn English at home, a journey that starts within. Close your eyes for a second, not to escape the world, but to finally listen. There's a quiet voice inside you, the one that says, I want to speak confidently. I want to express myself freely. I want to grow. But somewhere between daily routines, distractions, and self-doubt, that voice gets ignored. Today, we're going to change that. Learning English at home is not just about memorizing words or grammar rules, it's about building a connection with the language and, more importantly, with yourself. Because fluency isn't just about speaking correctly, it's about speaking confidently. And the truth is, you don't need a fancy classroom or expensive courses to begin. You just need consistency, curiosity, and courage. Start simple. Listen to English every day, not just to understand, but to feel the rhythm of the language. Watch videos, podcasts, or even short clips. Let your ears get familiar with how words flow. Then speak. Yes, even if you're alone. Talk to yourself. Describe what you're doing. Share your thoughts out loud. At first, it may feel strange, but that's where growth begins, just outside your comfort zone. Read something small each day, a paragraph, a story, even a few lines. Don't rush. Let the words sink in. And when you find a new word, don't just memorize it, use it. Write. It doesn't have to be perfect. Write about your day, your goals, your thoughts. Because writing is where your mind learns to organize ideas and your voice becomes clearer. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. You are not behind. You are not slow. You are learning. Every mistake you make is proof that you are trying, and every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. You were never taught the way your brain actually learns a language. And here, on Hello English, we change that. No pressure, no complicated rules, just a simple, real way to train your brain so you can finally start speaking, with confidence, step by step. So stay with me. This might be exactly what you needed. You've probably lived this moment more times than you can count. Sitting in a class or maybe in front of someone, hearing a simple question in English, and inside your mind, the answer is there. You understand it, you know it. But when it's time to speak, something stops you. Your thoughts get stuck between languages. Your mind starts searching for the perfect sentence, and before you can say anything, someone else answers and you stay quiet again. Or those moments when you're talking to someone and instead of just responding, your brain goes into this exhausting process of translating everything, word by word, checking grammar, fixing mistakes, and by the time you're ready, the conversation has already moved on. It's frustrating because it's not that you don't know English, it's that you can't use it when it actually matters. And then you see others speaking fast, speaking freely, making it look so natural. They don't seem to struggle like you do. And without even realizing it, you start comparing, you start shrinking, and a quiet thought begins to grow inside you. Maybe I'm just not good at this. But what hurts the most is not that you don't try, it's that you do. You start with hope, you watch videos, you learn, you promise yourself, this time I'll stay consistent. But slowly the excitement fades, not because you don't care, but because you don't see results. And so, without saying it out loud, you begin to give up, little by little, until trying itself feels heavy. But listen to this very carefully, because this might change the way you see yourself. This is not laziness. This is not lack of talent. And this is definitely not because you are not smart enough. This is simply a training problem, not an intelligence problem. Your brain was never trained to think and respond in English. It was only trained to understand and memorize. And that is why when real moments come, it freezes. And the moment you truly understand this is the moment you stop blaming yourself and finally start learning the right way. Now, let's understand something very important, something that can completely change the way you look at learning English. Your brain does not learn a language the way most schools teach it. It doesn't learn through long grammar rules, memorizing definitions, or trying to be perfect before speaking. Your brain learns a language in a much more natural way, through repetition, emotion, and usage. Repetition means your brain needs to see and hear the same patterns again and again until they start feeling familiar. Emotion means the more relaxed, curious, or connected you feel, the better your brain absorbs and remembers. And usage means one simple thing. Your brain learns a language by using it, not just by understanding it. But if you think about your past learning, it was very different. You were taught to focus on grammar rules, to translate sentences, to memorize words without actually using them in real situations. You were told to wait, to first become perfect and then start speaking. And because of that, your brain never got the chance to build natural language patterns. It collected information, but it didn't build the ability to respond. What your brain actually needs is simple. It needs patterns, repeated exposure, and small speaking loops where you use the language again and again, even if it's not perfect. That's how connections are formed. That's how fluency starts growing, not in silence, but in usage. So here's the truth you need to remember. You don't learn a language by understanding it, you learn it by using it, even before you feel ready. And once you accept this, everything about your learning can start to feel lighter, simpler, and finally, effective. There are a few beliefs that silently hold you back, and unless you break them, real progress becomes almost impossible. The first is this idea that you need perfect grammar before you speak. But the truth is, your brain doesn't build grammar first. It builds it after you start speaking. Just like a child doesn't wait to be perfect, they speak, make mistakes, and slowly improve. The second belief is that you need someone to practice with. While that can help, it's not necessary. Your brain can train itself through simple self-talk, thinking, speaking, and responding out loud in your daily life. And the third belief is, I don't have time. But your brain actually learns better in small, consistent bursts. Even 10 to 20 minutes a day done the right way can create real change. So it's not about having more time, it's about using your brain the right way. Now let's come to the part that actually changes everything. Not motivation, not theory, but a simple system you can follow at home. A system that works with your brain, not against it. You don't need hours of study, you don't need perfect conditions, you just need the right process. And that process can be understood in 3 simple steps. The first step is input, which simply means feeding your brain the right kind of English every day. Not fast, complicated content that makes you feel lost, but slow, simple English that you can catch, at least some words. Spend just 10 to 15 minutes daily on this. Now here's the important part. Don't try to understand every single word. Your brain doesn't need perfection. It needs exposure. When you repeatedly listen to similar patterns, your brain starts recognizing sounds, rhythms, and sentence structures. This is called neural familiarity. And once that builds, your brain slowly begins to predict what comes next. That's how natural understanding grows. So the rule is simple. Stay with the content even if you don't fully understand it. The second step is output, and this is where most people fail. They keep consuming, but they never use the language. And without usage, the brain never builds speaking ability. So you need to start speaking, not with others at first, but with yourself. Every day, just talk out loud about simple things. Ask yourself, what am I doing right now? What did I do today? What will I do tomorrow? It may feel awkward in the beginning, but this is exactly how your brain starts forming real language pathways.
When you speak, your brain activates both motor and language circuits at the same time, and this is what creates fluency. Not thinking, not reading, but speaking. So remember this line: if you don't speak, your brain never upgrades. And the third step is micro repetition, a very powerful but simple technique. Instead of learning many sentences once, you take just one sentence and repeat it multiple times in slightly different ways. For example, I will start today. I will start tomorrow. I will start again. What this does is it strengthens the connection in your brain. Every repetition makes that sentence easier, faster, and more natural. This is how synaptic connections grow stronger, and over time, these small repetitions turn into automatic speaking ability. So this is your system: simple, practical, and powerful. Input to feed your brain, output to activate it, and repetition to strengthen it. Follow this consistently, even for a few minutes a day, and you will start noticing something very different this time. Not just learning, but real change. Now let's talk about something very real, the actual reason you quit. It's not because learning English is too hard. You've handled harder things in life. The truth is, you stop because something inside you slowly loses hope. When you don't see progress, your effort starts feeling useless. When you make mistakes, you feel embarrassed. And when you see others doing better, you start comparing, and that comparison quietly breaks your confidence. And there's a deeper reason behind all this. Your brain runs on something called a dopamine loop. When you see small progress, your brain gets a reward signal and it wants to continue. But when there's no visible progress, the brain thinks this isn't working and it reduces effort. That's why motivation disappears. So the solution is simple but powerful. Stop chasing big results and start tracking tiny wins. Notice small progress like, today I spoke 3 sentences, or today I understood a little more than yesterday. These small signals tell your brain that you're improving, and not keeps you going. And when you stay consistent with these small wins, quitting slowly disappears.
Now, there's one shift that can quietly change everything. Not in your routine, but in the way you see yourself. Most people say, I am learning English. It sounds normal, but it keeps you stuck in a temporary mindset, like something you do only when you feel motivated. And when motivation drops, the action disappears. Instead, try this. I am becoming someone who speaks English daily. This is not just a sentence, it's an identity, and your brain responds very differently to identity than it does to goals. Goals feel distant, optional, something you try. But identity feels personal, something you live. When you start seeing yourself this way, your actions slowly align with it. You don't wait for the perfect time, you naturally take small steps because that's who you are becoming. Even if it's just a few sentences a day, it still counts. And over time, this identity becomes stronger than your doubts. Because in the end, your brain doesn't follow what you want once. It follows who you believe you are every day. Now, let's make this very simple and doable, because consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need hours, you just need a small daily routine that your brain can follow easily. In the morning, give just 5 to 10 minutes to listening. Play simple English audio, something slow and clear, and just let your brain absorb the sounds and patterns. No pressure to understand everything, just stay present with it. In the afternoon, take 5 minutes while doing your normal tasks, walking, eating, or working, and gently try to think in English. Simple thoughts like, what am I doing? Or what will I do next? Are enough. This starts training your brain to form sentences naturally. And at night, spend 10 minutes speaking. Sit alone and talk about your day in simple English. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to come out. That's it, just 20 minutes a day. Small, simple, and powerful enough to create real change over time. I know you've tried before, more than once. You started with motivation, with hope, telling yourself that this time it will be different. But somewhere along the way, things got heavy. You felt stuck, like no matter how much you learned, something was missing. And slowly, that quiet doubt started growing inside you.
making you question yourself, your ability, your confidence. Maybe you didn't say it out loud, but you felt it, that frustration, that comparison, that silent disappointment when things didn't work the way you expected. Pause. But this time is different. Not because you will try harder, but because now you understand what was missing. You're not starting with pressure. You're not forcing yourself to be perfect. You're starting with clarity, with a simple, real way that actually works with your brain. And sometimes that understanding alone is what changes everything. Before you leave, just stop for a moment and really think about this. Don't wait for confidence, because confidence doesn't come before you start. It comes after you take that first step. Right now, not tomorrow, not someday, just begin with one sentence. Say it, even if it's broken, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it's not perfect. Because this is not just about learning English anymore. This is about you finally showing up for yourself after all the times you stayed silent, after all the moments you held yourself back. This is about that version of you who knows they can do more, but just needed the right way to begin. You don't need perfect English to start. You need to start to build perfect English. So start today. Start small. But this time, don't stop.